I'm going to try not to fidget with that too much.
You hand me this. And now we're recording.
Oh, now we're recording?
This is called the consequences of our actions. What's the bit?
Is the bit not us talking about the snubs at the Mars Brightest? Do you not like that? We can go with something else.
I mean, award shows are always kind of fucking... Like, I don't know, like, the industry playing got first place in the award show.
Well, no, I'm saying is that, like, you know, they totally fucking snubbed the guy who was rapping Latin, or who was,
Honestly, he should have gone further. I don't know if he was a finalist, but he should have gone further.
Yeah, and then, you know, the Fire guys were pretty good in comparison to whatever his name is, Peter Piper or whatever. Then the one that really pissed me off was when they basically just told the drag queens to fuck off.
They were really just singing about what they really felt in here.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, man. This show has
sucks.
So what? Why'd you give me PlayStation guitar for this?
Just cause.
Just ambiance?
Yeah, just ambiance, you know, just
for audio listeners.
Yeah.
I have a little cup of Moose Tracks right here.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that's a good ice cream flavor, I'll tell you. I'll give you that. Yeah.
And, PlayStation 2.
Yeah.
Red Octane Guitar Hero wireless controller.
Yeah, I think mine is maybe for the Xbox 360.
PlayStation 2. Nope.
Are you sure?
That was also... Yes, that is the one that I had when I was.
It doesn't have a wire for it. It's battery powered.
Yeah, it's wireless. It's infrared.
What?
Yeah, they both are.
That's goofy. Anyways, this is How to Otaku, an anime podcast.
We're talking about Carole Tuesday.
Yeah. And before we do that, we just wanted to remind you guys to like, share, and subscribe if you enjoy the show. Leave us a review and a rating on Apple Podcasts, wherever you're listening. Yep. If you leave us a review, we will read it on the show, provided that it isn't some kind of, like, you know, Black Knight stalker shit.
Right, something derogatory. Yeah. Also, anything else you need to know, howtootaku.com.
Yep.
Just go check out the website, but for the time being, we're talking about anime.
Yeah, we're talking about anime. We're talking about Carole Tuesday. This is a really different show from anything this guy's made since, right? Like, everything else is action-packed, right? Sure. It's, like, very high concept, very, like, you know, it's gonna get your butts in the seats, and it's gonna make you so excited to watch a new episode every day. And this, we're taking it slow for a little bit, you know? We're just being like, okay, there's these two girls, they both want to make music, they meet up in the city, they start making music, and, you know, and they set the world on fire just by being charming and, you know, innocent and naive.
It's like if two broke girls had a premise, wasn't bad, and wasn't just, like, mean to its main characters for no reason.
Yeah. It's like if two people just met each other and then decided to start an anime podcast the day that they met. Huh. And then it just, like, 4 years later, it was still happening. Which is insane to think about. You know?
What are you talking about?
I have no clue. That's an entire hypothetical. This show is ending, by the way. Fuck you. I'm joking.
Just cut it there.
That's the end.
4-minute episode.
But yeah, like, it is a real gear shift, though, like, especially, like, as the show progresses, it kind of starts to get some more of those elements of his oeuvre that are more common, right? Especially kind of like the political undertones that start in the show and then kind of become like the core problem in the second half.
So it's very slice of life in a way that a lot of the other shows aren't. Like, the other ones are slice of life in that they are slices of these particular weirdos' lives, but, like, when I say slice of life, that's kind of like a generalized concept in manga and anime, where it's more grounded. It's more just like people's stories, kind of like look back as a slice of life. So, and there's elements of that to the other Watanabe shows because he's very intentional about like building the worlds that these are in generally. Making it feel more like you could put yourself in these characters' shoes. But this one is very much just like the only difference that they ever state is that this takes place on Mars.
Yeah.
And they use Wulongs. But there's very little separating this from like just a show that could be happening on it. Or like
exactly.
Two Broke Girls.
Like, this show, like there is a version of this show that exists in like Today Land, or like I guess like 2019 land, where it's like you know, but I feel like to that extent it would be like, I guess some of the AI things involved would have to be a little bit more like toned back in a way, though it's actually kind of interesting if we want to get into the AI discussion, how it's, you know, in some cases a little bit on the it was a little bit ahead.
Right, it's 6 years ahead of where we are right now making this show. Carole Tuesday released in 2019, and it's weird how like on the nose the metaphors it sets up for us are, because it's like I guess not metaphors, but like it was fantastical when the show came out. It was like, oh, imagine in the future, all these popular music artists that basically have all their music written for them anyways are just gonna have AI do that.
Yeah.
And now here we are, only 6 years later.
And a big problem on Spotify is all of these AI artists just filling up the playlist with fucking tracks. I listened to part of a Taylor Lorenz podcast where that she was talking about that, just like the glut of AI music that's on Spotify now is insane. Like, you know, and it hasn't really like crossed over into the mainstream side of music yet, because it's like there's still a lot of like unionization and still a lot of like cachet behind a producer or any given thing, right? But like it's not hard to see how in 10 years from now we might get to a point that looks even more similar to this show than where we're at now. And this show, like, I don't know. I don't know if it like really understood exactly where AI was going, in the sense that like it knew that it was going to be using like large language models and stuff like that, and was basically just going to be like composing averages of things in order to generate, you know, works of art. But at the same time, like,
it did come up with a pretty reasonable vision of what it could be.
Yeah. Like, I feel like probably at the time, more people would compare this to, like, compare, like, the AI stagnation of music in this show to, like, I don't know, auto-tune or something like that. Which, like, you know, obviously that was kind of played out by 2019. You know.
Right. I mean, and that's another that's something about this show that, like, is very strange to me. So, I am a musician. And I could wear that loosely. I mean, like, you know, obviously I'm not going to walk into the room and say, like, I'm the best guitarist that has ever walked the planet. But, like, it is very weird to me to see this show, at least at the very beginning, drop the two worst songs in the soundtrack. But it's like, and it's like, they're new. They wouldn't be doing worse, like, just it stands to reason they get better as musicians as the show goes on. But it's like, over 24 episodes, we have 18, 19 something new songs.
Hmm.
I don't know if that's entirely accurate. I want to say a song an episode, but that didn't
Yeah.
feel right. It feels like
It's
probably less than
probably
that.
close. Like I actually looked at the playlist on Spotify. They actually released all these songs as albums, of course, and like
Of course.
everybody put them into a playlist. And there is a lot more original songs than I thought.
But
Yeah, but like
every single episode is started with it was the 7 minute miracle.
yeah,
It went down in Martian history forever.
yeah,
And it's kind of like it's very vague about it, but
Yeah.
it starts every single episode with it. And you get to the end where it's like, oh, well, Tuesday's mom was going to be the president and she was going to start a war between Mars and Earth. Which, again, strangely on the fucking nose.
we'll get into that. But finish your point. Yeah.
But then, like, pretty much entirely unrelated from Tuesday doing music, which is like her mom is against it the entire time and really never turns around on it.
Yeah.
Her mom's mind is changed by her brother showing her leaked government documents.
We'll get into it. But
I'm just pulling a thread there.
But like back to the music.
There's so many little nitpicks I have, not nitpicks, but like pet peeves, I guess, about like how people discuss music. Because this is kind of like nose-gazingly, like, it feels like it is just on the edge where it's like using jargon for the sake of using jargon and not for an understanding of what is being talked about or the process of it.
Okay, interesting.
It seems like they're using music as a stand-in for art form, and every discussion they have about it that's like philosophical and like about the art making process is like I would say that it brings up like tangibly good advice for artists of any kind. But when they start talking about music specific things and production and like live music, theatric, just like everything about it is, from my perspective, very shallow. Like it's reaching at things that are so. It so could easily have like done a little bit more research.
Yeah.
And like said something vaguely interesting, or at least like something that doesn't make it come across as posing. I don't know how much of that is from me having watched the dub, which I feel like this is another thing. I know I'm just jumping, but like the dub was not as strong for me as some of the other shows that we've watched.
Yeah.
I don't know how much better it would have been if I had watched the sub and read the dialogue, but the voice actors, like a vocal soap opera, like an audio drama almost. Like they are playing the characters as if I can't see them. Incredibly overacted. A lot of characters are for me, I guess.
Yeah. So like
Holy shit.
So to the music side of things, I'm not as well versed in that. I played a little bit of music in high school, but like I'm not, I don't really know about like, backstage stuff as far as like popular music is concerned. So like to me, my read was more just that like a lot of the drama that happens is like you said, it's very much from like an outsider's perspective. They're not, I don't think that any of the writers involved like did a ton of research into how these things actually work, But at the same time, it's like, I don't know, I guess it didn't bother me just because like it's the thing where it's like I don't know as much about the thing, so I'm not judging it as deeply about the intricacies of the thing.
And that's fair. And like I said, I'm nitpicking. I'm pointing out specific pet peeves that for me they're annoying, but for anybody else, this wouldn't be nearly as much of a problem. The
show is definitely broad, though. I will give you that.
It is. and it's a pastiche of a lot of different forms of like music derived media
Mm.
in ways that like don't come together for me. Like I wholly dislike the Grammys are in the show by name.
Yeah.
I fucking hate the Grammys.
The Grammys suck. They're barely a plot point, but you know.
But like, America's Got Talent.
Yeah.
Largely scripted, largely staged, mostly bullshit.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's those parts of music culture that I dislike the most.
Mm-hmm.
And this show spends the entire time glorifying it. And it's like, I get it. As like, okay, from an outsider perspective, especially if you're not like, grunge, punk rock, garage band bullshit, like,
yeah.
Like, I'm on my own, not my own wavelength, but I'm like, you know.
Yeah.
I'm on a slightly parallel track. And so from an outside looking in perspective on the music industry, completely understandable to make a story about like two girls who start a band and they do a song and the song goes viral and
Yeah.
then they get invited to small gigs and then they get picked up by a like
Yeah.
on the surface completely coherent story about a musical duo.
Yeah.
There are so many times I was just like, damn, I could be watching Flight of the Conchords again right now.
Yeah, I don't know. I think this is generally just going to be like, you're harder on this than me just because, like, you know, it's tapping into things for you that are different than how I perceive them just because, like, you know, our perspectives on the intricacies of it. And I will agree with you, the Grammys suck. But maybe the Morris Grammys are okay. Maybe. You never know. You know? I do think it's kind of weird that, like, this show is set, like, I don't know, 80, 100 years in the future, and all of the, and like the whole machinations around like popular music and popular music making are almost identical to ours to the point that like so many of the brands and products and publications and such that exist now are still in existence in that far in the future, right? Like, you know, Nord is still making keyboards, and Pitchfork is still writing reviews, and you know the Grammys are still around and still
and
relevant.
South by Southwest.
And South by Southwest, yeah, and
South
like
by Southwest is running on Mars now. Sorry, Austin. I guess like what?
yeah, and I don't know. Maybe part of that was like maybe part of the calculus of that is that like oh well you know it would be really helpful to get some extra money for this show, so like maybe we just like throw in a bunch of names and get those companies to sponsor us so that we can, you know, make a little extra production money or something. I don't know. I don't know anything about that, but like it is weird that like almost to a T with the exception of like some of the more science fiction-y concepts.
Right, like
this could just be set in the regular world of today.
You're in my fucking tower that reads your mind and writes songs for you. Actually, you're my sister because our dad was a freak and created us in a lab.
That was really.
He got arrested for it twice. Anyways, sayonara.
I honestly did not have any questions about either of their backstories, and it was just like, why are you dropping this now?
Hey, I'm your dad, and I taught you one self-defense tactic, and now I'm fucking off again.
It's not like Terror in Resonance, where it's like, I'm looking at these two dudes the whole time being like, what is their fucking deal? What happened to make them what they are? It's like, no,
I
just
about
like...
it too much, and then also say nothing. I'm an orphan. When I was in the fucking foundation as an orphan, I had a friend. And it's like, foundation? Orphan? Your dad showed them. Her dad was there.
I wasn't talking about him. I was talking about the two.
But still, all of it, like, every single character backstory is like,
I mean, it's kind of
it's just weird. I don't get it.
It's kind of doing the same thing that Cowboy Bebop is doing sometimes, where like it'll give you glimpses of a backstory without like fleshing it out to a great degree. And with Carol and her father, I think that that's done fairly well. Like, I think that it's more interesting to see their relationship as just like a thing that is starting, and like he doesn't have the time to elaborate on it to her, but like we get the shades of it, and his regret about the situation just through like the amount of time in that episode they can allocate to it.
Sure, but her reaction was not what I would expect.
Okay.
From like genuinely meeting her father, especially based on like her finding that the rapper like later on in the, I guess the second season or the second half, finding out that he was her friend from when she was an orphan, and like she has a meltdown. She's like, dude, we were friends. I get that there's more of a connection there than she would have had with her dad. But I would also expect some kind of emotional reaction that I didn't see.
I don't know. I mean,
it's hard to have. It's hard to have. I can't
like it's hard to have a crazy reaction to somebody you've never met before, being like, "I'm your dad, boogie woogie."
You are my dad.
Okay, so we should kind of get into the first part first. I feel like we've been doing a lot of part 2 talk. We need to get back into part 1.
It's hard, dude.
But part 1 is very much like the rise to fame, right? Sure. It's the meteoric ascension before like the second half kind of becomes more about like the politics and stuff like that.
Right.
But like that stuff is like, I would say, adequately done in the same way that like I said with Terror and Resonance, it's like I just enjoy the genre of this so much that like even if it's not doing all of it especially well, I can just kind of get behind the just the rolling ball of it all. I when it is not attached to a specific artist where I want to see more of the nuance of their real life story, I can totally take one of these types of, like some artist or musician is, scraping it out on their own, and they finally like start to gain traction. I can take those stories any day. When it's not about Freddie Mercury and it's like, did you know Freddie Mercury had AIDS? And I'm like, yes, of course I knew that. Tell me something I didn't know.
Right. they do so much like, like so much glazing. It like, and the songs are fine. The songs do get better.
They are.
Definitely. But like, God, the amount of glaze.
Yeah, like, I feel like if there's one thing I could do to this show to make it a lot better, it's that like, if they're going to set up this world where it's like AI music has taken over everything and people just like, they just need something that is like new and genuine, then they need to build the world around that, where it's like clubs essentially don't exist and record labels are like incredibly, like even more so than now, difficult to get their attention.
Right.
Like it needs to feel more substantially different than how things operate right now, and more corporatized.
Because like if AI tools existed in the capacity that they do in this show, a genuine artist would not find a record label.
Yeah.
They would literally have to, like, they would post their shit on TikTok until they popped off.
Yeah.
And then develop their own independent label, maybe.
Yeah.
Or, like, maybe they would get picked up by, like, a broader independent label, at best.
But I feel like you couldn't even find, like, an Ertagut in that kind of situation, right? Like, not even somebody who is, like, essentially, like, the poster boy for something that is AI generated, right?
I could imagine I mean, like, you kind of see it with, like, oh god, what's it called? Not EDM, but also EDM. Like, anything with a DJ, really, but Not Def Punk.
Not Daft
Skrillex.
Skrillex. Oh, okay. You're talking about
Deadmau5.
like techno, like
There's a specific word for it. I can't remember. I was all over
dubstep.
that shit. Dubstep. I was all over that shit in middle
Yeah.
school. But like those guys are broadly taking songs that already exist and chopping them and finding new ways to remake those songs. At most. And then also, like, I'm not aware of any of them that use traditional instruments in a broad, expansive way. For the most part, it's sequencing, it's on a computer, it's a keyboard at most, maybe.
Yeah.
Some of them may, like, I pulled out a bass and I slapped it across a fucking railroad track and I recorded it and then I dunked the microphone underwater while I was replaying the sound. And that's how I came up with this hi-hat noise. You're welcome. So, like, I feel like there is an element of that there that may survive in, like, a future where AI tools is how music is made.
Yeah.
Because it's like, okay, I'm the guy that told the AI to make a Bob Dylan style song about a dog shooting 3-pointers.
That's a good song though. You should try that.
It's already a movie. The movie was like okay, so I don't know.
Yeah, but it's not a Bob Dylan song yet. You got to make Airbud the folk song.
Airbud, wherever you go.
This guy gets it.
Shoot 3s and half quarters.
He's cooking, chat. But I would say that like that's kind of the disappointment of the show is that like the drama behind like the philosophical question of like the AI generated music versus like something that's more genuine is kind of lost just because the world building doesn't like support it.
There's that, and they also just like they don't care about that as much, especially by the end, like the last 4. The other way that this is very much a Shinichiro Watanabe episode, or Shinichiro Watanabe show, is that all the fucking plot happens in the last 4 episodes. So, and by that point, they just completely drop, like, any pretenses of this being, like, about Carole Tuesday and the music that they're making, which is like, okay, they're doing it and they're doing a great job and they're successful for themselves and they're doing what they care about and like they're making music and that's great. But like it has no effect on the secondary plot, which is more of like okay, we're just introducing it's there the whole time, but Carole's family is wealthy and influential and they're going to try and find her because they don't like that she ran away. But also, she's a presidential candidate. And also, she's saying really inflammatory, really racist rhetoric.
Yeah.
By the way, here's this character who's non-binary because stars. They're gonna sing a song to their own death. They're just gonna kill themselves by singing. So actually, they were just in a coma waiting for Carole Tuesday to drop a new banger. Like, maybe I know I'm taking it way more seriously than I should.
It's a hard time to not take this show a little bit cynically, I think. Like, it very much relies on you having the vibe of, like, I just enjoy watching these 2 young women, like, become successful just doing what they love. And that's largely what happens, right? Obviously, they struggle with the same shit that most artists struggle with, right? They have writer's blocks. They have, things in their way telling them, no, you can't. But, like, usually the solution is we just stick with our shit. And, we just do what we want to do. And then everybody's like, oh, yeah, cool, I like that.
There's never like beyond the episode, like episode 3, where they make a music video.
Yeah.
But they use an AI robot to like direct the music video for them, and it turns out like shit, and then they don't release it anywhere.
Yeah.
Like they never have a moment. Like they like mention, oh, we have writer's block, and then 30 seconds later they have a full fucking song. So like writer's block my ass, but also they never have a moment of failure, really.
Yeah.
Like, even when they do, they fail upwards in like, oh, well, they lost the talent show, but they moved the judge so much that we're gonna fucking
gonna sign her
both of you
get
record label contract. Like, okay.
Yeah. It's just kind of one of those things where it's like, so there's two different kinds of protagonists as far as I understand it. There's the protagonist who is the character in the story that needs to change, who has the problem, and like they need to go through the course of the show in order to like learn what the solution is to their problem and change.
Guts from Burke.
Guts from Burke. But the second one is the one that
Scott from Pilgrim.
The second one is the one that is the like the embodiment of the thing that the world needs to change around, right? Like it's your Paddingtons and stuff like that. And Jesus, yeah. You know, Jesus doesn't need to change so long as the world is like, oh yeah, actually we probably shouldn't just stone people to death or whatever.
The guy who got disappeared into another world where the Beatles didn't exist, but he remembered all the Beatles songs.
I was just thinking about that today, and I was like, have you ever heard the actual, like, have you ever heard the plot of the original version of that movie?
No.
The original version of that movie is the Beatles disappear, and he's the only one who remembers that they exist. But then he can't get signed because the world is not like it's not based on how good your stuff is. It's just about who you know and being in the right place at the right time. So even though he knows all of the Beatles songs and is the only one who is able to recreate them, he is not able to get anywhere. And it's also a reflection on the writer being like, I've spent the past 20 years trying to sell a script and I can't. And then the one time he sells a script about that, they completely change it for the actual movie that happens. It's insane.
Patreon episode where Josh talks about the original plot for the movie for the Beatles isekai. What the fuck? Like such a weird and deep reflection of the music industry and honestly any artistic industry at that moment in time.
The lack of meritocracy.
Actually, the Beatles are just so good that everybody would just fall in love with this guy.
Yeah, and Ed Sheeran would be there and give him bad advice in like the one good scene in the movie. And Ana de Armas would be in it. Oh wait, no, she's not actually. Oh wait, no, we're getting sued because Ana de Armas isn't in it? What the fuck? Read through the Wikipedia article sometime. It's insane. Anyway.
I didn't know I was going to open a can of worms with the Beatles isekai. Jesus. That's honestly more interesting than fucking Carole Tuesday.
Damn.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to be like, oh,
yeah.
2 shows in a row. I don't mean to be like, oh.
You just didn't care for it. It's fine.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Like there's some interesting things that it does. Like, and as much of an annoying character as Aragon is.
Yeah.
They do some interesting stuff with him where it's like, oh, well, at Pride of His Own Folly, he becomes broke because he bullied his servant AI.
That show was like ahead of cryptocurrencies before everybody else was.
In 2019?
Yeah, in 2019. I mean, I feel like cryptocurrencies kind of really popped off in 2020. In 2019, they were like an idea. Right? But like
I feel like 2019, like the middle of COVID is like when everybody was like, Hey guys, we're EA, and we're gonna do a Los Video Juego with
With real
NFTs.
money.
Yeah, you buy skins in this game, and they NFT into Fortnite. Wouldn't that be cool if they NFT'd? Like, what do you mean? You know how like an NFT is like it's not fungible. It's like a token that's not fungible, and we could put it in this game, and then we could like maybe put it in Fortnite. You know, because it's a token. And you're like, I
You've
think
lost
you're full of
me.
bullshit. And then they do that for like the next 10 years because the venture capitalists put too much money into it.
Yeah. And it's cool that this show kind of saw through it all and is like, yeah, if you put your money into fucking crypto, it's going to get stolen. Get wrecked.
They also do some like weird 11th hour shit where they're like, oh my god, if we don't release the biggest banger of all time, then musicians are never gonna have freedom of speech. Which like also kind of weirdly prescient for the moment in time that we find ourselves in.
Okay, let's actually get into this. Like, I mean, obviously this show was happening, or this show was being developed and released under Trump 1, right? Like, and now we're in Trump 2, where it's just like, same shit, a little bit more, you know.
Same shit, stiffer pants.
It's like the first one was the original Star Wars, where it's like, you know, the bad guys are here, but like they're kind of low budget. You know, we have to be a little bit scrappy with our $7 million budget. You know, and reuse some sets here and there, but like
we have the two oldest, stiffest guys,
and we defeat him at the end. But then this one's The Empire Strikes Back, where it's like, okay, now we have enough money for big fascism, and we're not going to win at the end.
Like, also, it's just Death Star 2.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah, it's just, well, not in Empire Strikes Back. They wait for Return of the Jedi for that one. But anyways.
All the Star Wars is beyond me.
Do a Patreon on Andor. Oh my god, dude, that would be sick. But yeah, like, but yeah, the show is like, it's a weird thing to watch in this time where like people are getting scooped up off the streets.
Fucking Hassan got stopped on his way back from Paris.
Yeah.
The Kabi Lame, the like, I can't remember where he's from, but the guy that literally just does videos where he doesn't even speak, but he like reacts to the bad life hack videos, and he just like does the thing that the life hack is trying to like simplify, but he just does it, and he like.
Oh yeah, that guy. Yeah.
I know.
You were saying the name, and I was like, I don't know who this guy is, and then you did the, and I was like, oh yeah, it's him.
He got picked up. He got scooped twice, I think.
Shit. But we need to let the South Africans out. You know, it's about the right type of immigrants, of course, not the, you know.
And
anyways,
Elon, what makes them the right type of immigrant?
Well, Elon might get deported too. We'll see about that.
Does it even matter anymore?
Nothing matters. But anyway, like this show is a reflection of a time when we were like, maybe shit still does matter, you know? Maybe if we did just do like We Are the World 3.
I guess that's why I'm a bit cynical about it, because they literally are just like,
we are the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's a show that is like, it's a hard show to stomach in a cynical time, and I feel like, you know, obviously you can have your gripes about it, but like I think that part of it is also just that like you need to be in an optimistic state of mind and just be like, I'm down for this in order to really receive it, you know?
Right.
It's a broad show, right? Whereas like Cowboy Bebop and Samurai Champloo and stuff like that, while they do definitely have their broader elements, like Cowboy Bebop especially is like, it often understates the things and leaves you to fill in the gaps, right? And that's kind of what makes the show exactly what it is.
But in a sincerely compelling way.
Yeah. And this show is like, it's very broad and playing to a general audience, I guess.
Yeah.
Who are like less in tune with music culture and less cynical about the machinations of it, and of course in a less politically cynical time where it's like, we elected the same dumbass again 4 years after we said no, actually we don't want this guy.
And also, he's older than Joe Biden. I don't know why everybody's still talking about, oh, Joe Biden's too old. Do I have to make it? Do I have to say it out loud? Do I have to make
I don't think he's older than Joe Biden, but he will be older than Joe Biden would have been at the end of his presidency. Hang on, let me try to explain this. So Donald Trump will be older at the end of his presidency than Joe Biden would have been at the start of his second term if he were elected. Joe Biden is older, but only by like 3 years. So Donald Trump, when he leaves, will still be the oldest president.
Donald Trump is 79 years old.
And he looks that way. Do you see him at his birthday party? He looks so old and sad. He looks so sad. He just wanted to go home and take a nap.
We gotta stop.
He was like, nobody showed up to my $40 million birthday party. This is sad.
It's so hard to bully a guy that just tried to blow up Iran's nuclear facilities and failed.
Yeah. That's also crazy too, that it's like this show predicted us doing terror strikes in order to justify doing more terror strikes.
That's the other thing, is it's like it hit so many nails directly on the head, and it tried so hard to shoehorn in like positive political message.
Yeah.
Which, like, you know, in 4 more years, maybe I'll turn around on it and be like,
Yeah.
But like seeing it right now, I'm like,
it is
it's hard to take sincerely.
It's a show made for Joe Biden's presidency in a lot of ways.
It is a show.
It is a show that you watch like right after Joe Biden gets elected, and you're like, "Oh my God, thank you. We've been vindicated. We just need to be."
Thank God. The status quo was bullshit, but it's better than whatever the fuck that was.
Yeah. So yeah, like
you got me agreeing with the fucking establishment libs. Thank you.
Okay, but like, but yeah, like I find the two protagonists compelling enough, right? Like they're not like the deepest people in the world, but I find them like enjoyable to watch.
Sure.
You know? And like I think that like a lot of the side characters are fun, right? Like, you know, Gus really had me worried to start with, but then his bisexual ex-wife shows up, and I'm like, okay, that's cool.
God, I'm gonna make the transparent Mildred argument. Oh God, what's the like vaguely supposed to be David Bowie character?
Oh, that's not Donovan. It starts with a D. But I know the character you're talking about. This show is kind of like it's really, really hit or miss on the LGBT representation, I will say. You know, which happy Pride Month, everybody. Hope y'all are doing good. You know, also happy Juneteenth to everybody who celebrated. Hope y'all had a good time, and hope y'all have a happy 4th of July, because this is going to be the last episode before that happens.
It is severely fucked up that they're just like, okay, we're gonna take everything and cram it into 1 month.
Yeah.
Like, and then even then, like, well, I guess there is Black History Month, but like, and then white people are like, where's Black History Month? It's like, every other month.
Every other month.
Of the other 11. We're straight Pride Month. The
other 11.
Like, calm down. You're okay. No Nobody's ever been persecuted on the grounds of being straight. Nobody's ever been persecuted in the United States on the grounds of being white.
Yeah, you guys
fine.
You guys have Thanksgiving, okay? Just. Yeah.
Sorry, the show gave me an excuse to be political, and so now I'm.
Yeah.
Fucking Tao. Oh my.
Tao is kind of weird.
Brother.
Dahlia is really strange. So, like, I don't think I understand the entire, like, the science of the androgenizing that can happen on Mars. You know? Like...
Right. Like we see with the Mermaid Sisters.
I think they're just drag. I think
that's probably more accurate.
You know, Desmond. Yeah. Desmond and Dahlia are kind of like, they're both two characters who, like, as a result of some science fiction mumbo jumbo, they don't really explain it all that well. They start androgenizing over time, and, like, it seems Desmond kind of accepts it better than Dahlia does.
For sure.
But, like, they both kind of, like, take on more effeminate presentation and, you know, in Dahlia's case, name. But, like, it's weird, I guess. Especially in Dahlia's case.
It's
like,
weird because it's like you could just have non-binary characters.
Yeah.
And not have to have, like, some pseudoscience, like, oh, but they're it's cool because they're weird and Martians and, like, weird space stuff. Like, you could just have non-binary characters.
Yeah.
You don't really have to put in legwork to explain that.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like have somebody refer to themselves with non-binary pronouns and then have the other characters refer to them with non-binary pronouns.
Well, I feel like for the case of non-binary people, I kind of understand needing to, like...
I mean, like, an introduction, like,
just, like,
I am non-binary.
Yeah, just, like... You might even need to, like, kind of just explain the concept, because, like, I feel like in 2019, for a lay person, the idea of, like, sex and gender being kind of separate concepts and non-binary people existing somewhere in between the two bimodal parts of the spectrum, like, that would kind of need to be explained in 2019 to the lay person. But, like, you don't need a science fiction reason for that to be the case. You can't just be like, hey, I'm non-binary, here's what being non-binary means. Just be cool with it.
Sure. But also, like, we even pretend... Like, even in the context of this, we have to pretend like androgyny is weird and we need to explain it. In the context of a character that is obviously meant to be, like, a weird homogenized blend of David Bowie, Prince, and Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that, at least that's the read that I'm getting on the character that they're trying to portray. But then, this is what I meant by transferred Mildred. You're in this position where you're like this multi-billion-dollar interplanetary pop star. Prince changed his name to a fucking symbol. You're sticking with Desmond?
Desmond does suck.
Thank you.
It's fucking Mildred?
Desmond? I mean, like, David Bowie at least has some ring to it. Like, that's got some presence. Desmond? That's a fucking smiling... That's the episode 1 Smiling Friends character.
It's better than Donovan, though. You remember Donovan from the 50s? Goddamn.
Donna Bang from JoJo.
That's the other thing, is that, like, this show is a little bit brave for at least keeping the music references in the dub.
Yeah, okay, sure.
The Virgin JoJo's Bizarre Adventure dub.
Virgin JoJo's Bizarre Adventure dub.
Limp Bizkit.
I will say they're all, like, I'll give it credit where it's due. Like, it does have some interesting references to some interesting things.
Yeah.
Like, a Gibson. Mm-hmm. Gibson's a real guitar. They make real nice guitars.
Yeah.
There are a lot of, like, in the music video episode, there are a lot of weird little parodies.
Yes,
of a lot of different music videos. I mean, like obviously Thriller because of the million zombies.
Which,
And, like,
which honestly, like,
oh god, I'm blanking. But the first one they showed on MTV, that was like the 3D animated.
oh yeah, Money for Nothing, yeah.
Yeah, Money for Nothing.
And Take on Me, yeah. Like, honestly, like, I know the robot kind of phoned it in, but like, I think the end result is still kind of cool, in a very lo-fi way.
In a very Dadaist,
Yeah.
like, YTP kind of like.
Yeah, like if I saw that, I'd been like, cool, like and subscribe, which is what you should do right now.
Right now, if
Right
you've
now.
been enjoying the episode so far, you should take just a second to scroll.
If
down
you've been
a
watching
little
this
bit.
show for a long while and been like, man, I like this show, but
Yeah,
like
if
they
somebody-
agree about stuff all the fucking time. They should stop agreeing on things.
We can get into a fist fight about this show if you want to. We could turn.
We
this
could
into
do it.
Fight Club.
We could.
That's in the Patreon cut. That's what happens in the Patreon cuts, by the way. We
Exactly.
actually just like
Yeah.
fully beat the shit out of each other.
Yep, for $1 a month, you can watch me like, fucking beat him up while being like, actually, I think that the positivity in the show is really cool.
And I hit the fucking Roman counter guilty your strive sign and say, but actually, nihilism has a point. And you say, bam! Nihilism is merely the starting point for all other philosophies. The fact that nothing matters is a universal truth. You must develop your own philosophy regarding what the meaning of life is to truly sustain mental well-being within this dark, cruel, twisted reality we find ourselves locked into.
Exactly.
And I say, no, where's the tits at?
I gotta go to boobies. Fuck this shit. I'm going to boobies.
Fuck this shit. So wait, can I still go to boobies?
No.
Not happening.
But yeah, like, I think that this show is, I guess the conclusion to this episode, I guess, is just like, vibe it out. If you're feeling in kind of a crummy mood about the state of things, this might not necessarily reflect like the state of mind you're in. But if you're like, I need something to pick me up and remind me of the goodness of the world, this might do it too. You never know. Like, yeah. And if you're a conservative, maybe don't watch this show because the show doesn't like you.
I don't know, but neither does Star Wars, and they eat that shit up.
That's true.
Okay, so I will say there's like 2 minutes at the top of this that we're going to cut.
Yeah. This is
We're
short.
only 50 minutes in. So, hey guys, welcome to the post Shinichiro Watanabe. Carole Tuesday is a good show.
Yeah.
There are way worse shows that I've seen. I'll have a couple wrap up.
Yeah.
It's not bad. I'm pretty cynical on it for a couple personal internal reasons.
Yeah.
Namely, like, I'm feeling real doomer about the shit that I'm seeing going on in the world right now. And also, as a musician, it's like insultingly simple for some of the things that it like goes out of its way to point out about being a musician, and then like goes absolutely no further. I'm nitpicking. I'm being cynical. I'm being an asshole. It's a good show. It does good things. If you like slice of life, give it a try.
Yeah.
It's really solid. But I don't like it that much. I give it like a 7 out of 10.
Yeah.
Like a 6.5, 7 out of 10.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't rank it among the highest of this miniseries. I mean, it kind of depends on how I feel about Lazarus. If Lazarus like really sticks the landing or something, but like from the 3 episodes I watched, I was like, this is fun. It's probably going in the lower half of the
Sure.
rankings, but like, yeah, I would say like it's a one thumb up. It is like it doesn't do everything great, but like if you need something nice and good and very wholesome,
Right, just wholesome. If
yeah,
you want two quirked up girls living in the city making pop music,
yeah.
there you go, Carole Tuesday.
Oh, they also predicted the one wheel the skateboard thing.
Oh, literally
The one wheel. Yeah, they predicted that too.
Those things existed in 2019.
Did they?
I'm
Okay.
positive. Um,
Oh, also, this show is the most connected to Cowboy Bebop in terms of lore. Like, it's literally set in the city that the movie takes place in. So, like, you know, if you're like, oh, I need to know everything about the Cowboy Bebop world, it's connected.
I got Carole Tuesday, official Cowboy Bebop prequel.
I think it's a sequel, actually. I think it takes place in a like in a higher advanced society version of Alba City than the movie does. The
Okay.
Cowboy Bebop.
I
movie does.
figured it was kind of like a degradation thing, like this place has been around longer, so it's.
I feel like this is probably like the gentrified version, like the 50 years later gentrified version. That's as far as I read. The universe is wishy washy. You know.
It is also kind of weird because you don't see like. I mean, I guess it is definitely more grounded, but it's not. It doesn't go interplanetary.
No, it does not.
They don't mention anything beyond like the relationship between Earth and Mars, which
Yeah.
they only like very lightly go into.
I think
In any like real solid way beyond
Yeah.
like fake no, well, not fake, but like organized terrorist attack that was like done internally and blamed externally.
yeah. Okay, look, let me say this to bring it a little bit back to the politics. People say that women are too emotional to be the president. I say if the Republicans had a woman Trump, then I guess she would be the one to admit to her crimes and drop out of the race. So maybe it's a give or take, you know?
Too emotional, bro.
Too emotional.
Too emotional. The weirdest con that's ever taken place is somehow men convincing everyone that angry is not an emotion.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. No, angry is an emotion.
And that 40% of emotions that men experience are angry. Like, no, there's a much broader range, and they are all, in fact, emotions.
Yeah.
And sometimes we think more emotionally than most women do. Like, scientifically.
Yeah.
This is trackable. They've done studies on this.
Yeah. Especially when I've seen Amelia Perez. That's like a new level of anger that has never been achieved before.
I haven't even seen it. I can't imagine.
Anyways, what else? Like the songs themselves are they're mostly all right. Like they're not gonna blow you out of the water, but like I do think that like I'm not sure if it's intentional or not, but I do think that like the songs being kind of whatever at the beginning and then slowly getting better over time does kind of feel like a naturalistic progression of
Sure.
like quality as you become like more proficient.
They do
You know?
a severely unearned amount of glazing, though.
They do, but like you know, with the exception of like the last year, I mean, with the exception of like all the great pop artists that came out in 2024, they usually glaze them too much. Like you know, like this this Benson Boone guy, who the fuck, like just I'm not shit on anybody in particular. You should listen to some pop music, I guess, or not, you know, because that's what I'm saying is that they're glazing him up too much. And the other guy, who is also kind of like the boom clap guy who should not be around.
Maybe
The
Thomas McDonald or
the
whatever
the
his name
Hoosier
is.
lookalike or
I
whatever.
don't even know.
But yeah.
Ugh.
Anyways.
Yeah.
Oh.
Magic the Gathering Corner.
Damn
Welcome
it.
to Magic the Gathering Corner. We now are an anime and Magic the Gathering podcast. So, the Final Fantasy set came out. Holy shit, are those prices ridiculous. The only thing that's not ridiculous is the starter deck set, which comes with 2 standard decks. Now, if you have no experience with Magic the Gathering, I should say this is not an introductory level Magic conversation. It is mildly beyond introductory. Okay, so thank you very much for watching. Again, like and subscribe. Check out the Patreon. Go to howtootaku.com.
Wait a minute. Before you get into Magic the Gathering corner, we should get into Don corner.
Don corner. I thought we were doing a Patreon episode about that.
I think there's enough to warrant a Patreon episode. I think it's just like...
The Don movie was out.
It's good.
It's the first 3 episodes. It's good. I kind of wish season 1 ended with that instead of...
Yeah, ending in a really weird, pervy spot. But, you know.
Which is very quick. Again, exactly what I said in the Don episode. They do some weird, pervy things that are like instantly overcome by how dope and cool the main characters and their use of their abilities are.
Yeah.
Beyond that, fucking excellent.
Yeah. I mean,
I really don't want to spoil
seeing,
it on the main page.
Yeah, like seeing Science Sorrow animation on a big screen, 2 thumbs up.
If it's still in theaters and you can go see it, go.
Yeah.
If you like Don,
go
watch it.
Go do it now. Like literally, like if you're listening to this and the movie theater is not open, go with. No, I'm not gonna say with any particular item, with something that might influence a movie theater employee to turn the screens on.
If you're a Magic the Gathering fan and you can somehow get your hands on a Black Lotus, that would be an excellent bribing tool.
Exactly. Yeah. But anyways, back to
there may be other options.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not saying that that's like the only thing that you could do.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Anyways, yeah. So, anime done. Thank you very much. We love you. In a platonic and non-parasocial way.
Next episode is Lazarus.
Yes.
You know, that's on Adult Swim and Max, HBO Max.
Yep.
Again.
And then after we finish with Lazarus, there is going to be an episode on the Patreon about our extended oeuvre of Shinichiro Watanabe.
Yeah.
And then we are jumping into Dragon Ball Z as our continuing series.
DBZ
so
Kai.
DBZ Kai. So it's going to be back to like an every other week schedule, and we'll let you know what else is going on later.
Yeah. But anyways, Magic
the Gathering.
It kind of overlaps with our demographic, I would say.
So,
of like schlubby nerds.
Welcome to How to Scry.
We can work on
that. This is the Magic podcast where I, a 10-year Magic veteran, introduce Josh, a Magic newbie, to my favorite trading card game. So I got the Final Fantasy starter decks, the standard decks, and I sat this guy down. I pointed a loaded firearm at his head, and I said,
"Play game,
right
play
now.
game.
We're flipping cardboard 90 degrees."
And then I was like, okay, I'll do it. And then I flipped, and I was like, oh, I kind of like that. Oh. Wait a minute. I can play Rat? And Rat is effective?
Wait a minute. Green turned into Rat? Rat turned into you dead? Huh.
This game kind of cool.
Wait a minute. Hobbit make food tokens?
Oh, yeah. And then,
then
after that, I got
one game of Standard, and then I mentioned Commander to him. And, oh, fuck.
Yeah,
Tell everybody about your Hobbit stay.
Okay, so...
From your understanding as a brand new Magic player, having played 2 games of Magic ever.
Yeah.
1 game of Standard and 1 game of Commander.
Yeah. So we went to Level Up Games in Athens. Good recommendation. I like them.
Great store.
Yeah. Decent crowd.
They don't have singles, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I wish I could buy singles there so I can build my deck, but we'll get into that in a minute.
Yeah, but anyways, like immediately, like when I was looking at the commander decks they had a Hobbit one, and I was like, bro, I fucking love Hobbits. You know, they're like my favorite part of the Lord of the Rings, like the movies, is like the 50 minutes at the beginning that is just Hobbit shit. Yeah. I just want to live in a peaceful little hole. And like, you know, and eat and like play flutes.
17 breakfasts and fucking
I could eat so many breakfasts, dude.
smoke
You can't tell me.
halfling pipe weed.
I could smoke so much halfling
I
pipe
could smoke
weed.
so much halfling pipe weed. And then the fucking weird tall guy with the white beard comes to town, and we all throw tomatoes at him, but every once in a while, it's somebody's birthday, he makes some dope shit happen.
Yeah.
So, like, he's kind of chill, I guess.
And sometimes he strong arms you into a vacation, but whoops, the vacation is actually a journey to kill a dragon.
and then it's a journey. It's more, instead of killing a dragon, it's more about becoming in tune with you as a person and like discovering self-fulfillment and then also killing a dragon and making buddies with some fucking dwarves. But like,
and then one of the dwarves gets like really too attached to like this gem or something, and they make a whole movie about it, and that movie sucks.
And there's like a whole fucking side arc where the dwarves start a war, and it's like, you know, it kind of it jumps the shark a little bit. Yeah. But overall, he goes there and he comes back again.
Yeah.
So,
and, you know, it was a good time. Anyways, I like hobbits. And I'm figuring, like, okay, if I get this deck and it's, like, kind of in this, like, lore universe that I'm familiar with, then it's going to be easier than if I'm looking at, like, Draylor the Slayer or whatever. And I'm like, eyes glaze over, I don't know what this means. So, yeah.
What does Soul Ring do?
Soul Ring? I assume that it is a ring that absorbs souls.
Nope.
No? Okay, well then I don't fucking know.
Soul Ring is an artifact card that you pay, you put it into the battlefield, and you can tap it for 2 colorless mana.
Wow. Crazy. Anyways, and then he gets a big pack of sleeves, which in case you don't know, those are things that you stick the cards in to keep them nice and fresh. You know,
they also make shuffling easier.
Yeah, exactly. So he gets a bunch of those, and then he's like, okay, we're going to, you know, let's just start sleeving them up so that they're all hunky-dory. So then we sit down and start doing that, and then these other guys just start showing up, and they're like, hey, what's up, dude? You want to play? And I'm like, what the fuck? Yeah, but then you were like, yeah, and then I was like, okay, yeah. And then we had, like, this crazy, like, 4-player game where, you know, everybody else seemed like way more knowledgeable about their shit than me. And I was the first one knocked out, but to be fair, like I stuck it through a decent length.
To be fair to us and also to the 2 guys that we played with, they had way stronger decks than we did.
Yeah.
For context, one of them was running an Dragon deck, which like you don't know. That's literally like the #1 ranked deck on EDHREC, which is like the website where people post commander decks.
Yeah. Was that glasses or baseball cap?
That was glasses.
Okay.
Baseball cap was running the Final Fantasy X Titus.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
Both of which massively outpowered the decks that Josh and I were running. Josh was running the Hobbit precon, and I was running the Sphinx's precon.
Yeah.
And Glass's Dragon deck was entirely proxy.
Yeah.
Like there was not a single actual card in that deck except for maybe the lands. And even then, some of them were definitely proxy. Bro had like a first turn like land Soul Ring, second turn land Mox. Like he was popping off instantaneously. But after that, they both kind of recognized that we were running power 2s and they were running basically power 4s, not power 5s. And they were like, okay, we'll tone this back a little bit.
Yeah.
We'll play the game kind of like friendly, group hug-ish.
Yeah, which is very generous of them. I appreciate that.
It did fucking drag forever.
It did drag.
Once we wiped the Dragon Guy's board, I mean, like, I was running a Power 2 Sphinx Precon. There's not really a whole lot going on in there.
Yeah.
Hobbits. I mean, like, maybe there's an engine or something there that we can discover. But Josh is new to the game, and Hobbits and food tokens are kind of a interesting mechanic. So it's
I did have a really fucking cool card that basically let me, like, steal cards from other people and keep them around to, like, you know, just have them at a moment's notice, but I just wasn't able to really take advantage of it because I was like still
the
learning
second
shit.
you saw a card that didn't have a Hobbit on it.
Yep. So you know that's a me problem.
Is that a Sphinx? I don't know what that does. Is that a dragon? This is some twink with a fucking swimsuit and a volleyball.
No, I just pocketed that card. I was just like, save that one for later.
That guy's gonna get home with a 98 card deck and he's gonna be like,
And the good thing about that card is that when I'm done with it, I can just stick it on the back of another card and nobody will.
But yeah, so now I'm in the process of building a Goro Goro and Satoru Dragon Ninjas deck.
It's
I'm
Mortal
running
Kombat, right? That's Mortal Kombat, right? Oh.
Nope. Just Magic, baby. But I'm running into some problems with that in terms of, like, first I had a mana problem, and then I had too much mana and not enough shit to do with it. So hopefully I'm fixing the card draw problem, but who knows? I don't know if I need more big creatures or more little creatures. We're very much in the growing pains phase right now of, like, uploading something onto Architect and, like, scrolling through Scryfall.
If you're interested in Magic the Gathering and our podcast, consider joining the Discord. We might set up a card game little feed or whatever, and
card game channel.
Card game channel.
Scryfall interaction.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe you guys can hash out. I mean, give out some details and like some little recommends. Yeah.
But yeah,
link in the description.
Much like take out 2 cards, add 2 cards, put it in Tabletop Simulator, run a game. Mm-hmm. I'm glad to be back into Magic. I'm going to be fully transparent. This is the first that I've really gone into any sort of depth with you about the Dragon Ninjas. Mm-hmm. It gets stronger when there are more players to play against. So in a 1v1, it would be pretty manageable for your Hobbit deck.
Yeah.
I am going to have a proxy land base and some other proxy cards as a sideboard. Mm-hmm. So if we run into somebody in a store that's running like a Power 4 deck, I can sideboard in my proxies and have something like vaguely competitive to that.
Gotcha. Cool.
I'm excited about it. This is the first time in a while I've been excited about a commander. Yeah. I don't think it's particularly powerful because there's kind of a limit on the dragons. Mm-hmm. But if I can get this running properly, I think it's going to be a lot of fun to play. Yeah,
and we both got Thursdays off, so like I'm just gonna hit the Thursday night commander stuff.
Night commander pod.
And maybe regular Friday night Magic if I've got that off. I don't know. We'll see.
Maybe go hit a draft. Get Josh to build his own deck?
Maybe. We'll see. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was MTG Corner. Thank you for listening to that, if that was your thing. Just a reminder, Lazarus June 9th. Then after that, we're starting DBZ Kai. Feel free to like, share, subscribe, leave a review. We read reviews on the show, whether they're kind or mean. I mean, if they're not if they're too mean.
And also, don't fucking ask me what the show after Dragon Ball Z Kai is.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. We're gonna talk about it right after this. But
You should message me on Blue Sky with a
Yeah.
very polite, kind-worded message. Not through the DMs, just like shoot it at me.
Yeah, at howtootaku.com.
At howtootaku.com and
um,
brokenlives.howtootaku.com
Yeah.
and jdthorn.howtootaku.com.
Yep. Yeah.
Send us Blue Sky.
He knows it better than I do.
Send us Blue Sky. Blue Sky me, say, why haven't you covered Alicization yet? I'll slap you and say, fucking no more sword art.
We're never touching sword art again. Unless we do some like crazy bracket where it's like, here's all the shit we never want to cover, and then the fucking gremlins in our community.
Where's the free run video at? Don't worry, it's coming. I promise we'll do free run. Where's Doro Hidoro? Fucking shut up.
We'll get to
Get
it.
there. Hunter x Hunter win whenever Hunter x Hunter makes a good fighting game. Oh shit! Did he just say that?
Jeez.
Whenever Hunter x Hunter makes a good season. Oh shit! Did he just say that? We will do Yu Yu Hakusho though. I fucking love Yu Yu Hakusho. I will fight people about that opinion.
TikTok at howtootakupod.
TikTok.
Yeah. I need to get back on that, but yeah. I gotta do it.
What else? I feel like we had some new additions to our shelf.
I mean, I swapped these out. As far as like new stuff, I don't really see anything new. You got the new volumes from Europe. That's about it. I mean, we got Jolene and the Swordfish from Cowboy Bebop, but yeah, that's about it.
You're watching this right now, if you're still watching, Lego Ideas. Go on to Lego Ideas, create a Lego Ideas account, and type in Lego Swordfish, and click the one that looks the best. It's not hard to find. There's like 3 of them.
Mm-hmm.
Please go vote for that shit.
Yeah.
Please go vote for that shit. It is still running. It is running out of time. It needs to hit like 5,000.
Yeah.
Please go vote for that shit.
Yeah. And that will probably be the most available swordfish model of its size to hit the US market.
Oh, yeah.
Because the ones from Bandai are actually quite expensive for some reason.
Josh, 10 seconds for Donkey Kong.
Donkey Kong Bonanza looks really fucking good. I think it's going to be Game of the Year. Probably. I mean, I haven't played Clair Obscur yet, but second to that, Donkey Kong. I'm really planning on getting a Switch 2 before that game comes out, so that I can play that game and have a great time.
Okay, hold on, one more. 10 seconds for Materialists.
Materialist? Haven't seen it yet. Still
Never
want
mind.
to.
What did you see? What else did you see that day?
I actually didn't see anything on Tuesday. I didn't get around to it.
Just on.
That Tuesday? Let me think. Phoenician Scheme by Wes Anderson. That was a pretty cool movie. Sinners by Ryan Coogler. That movie is dope. It's on HBO Max now, I think. Well, not now. I think it's actually hitting HBO Max on July 4th. So, watch it on July 4th. Do it. It's great. Good time.
I haven't seen it yet. I'll probably watch it on July 4th.
Anyways, that's it. Have a good night.
See you, Space Cowboys.
See you, Space Cowboys.
What the fuck?